A mind that is stretched by a new experience can never go back to its old dimensions. Oliver Holmes. The Indiana Reentry Educational Facility, also known as IRF, is an all-male reentry facility where only those who want to change and are awaiting their sentencing to be completed can transfer here. The men at IRF are called residents to avoid the stigma that hangs around the words inmates or criminals. The residents at IRF learn new skills that will encourage them to become law-abiding citizens and help them re-enter into their communities with the hope of reducing recidivism rates. The residents dress in normal everyday clothes. They are called by their names and not having to be identified only as numbers. And they do things that normally others in prisons won't get the chance to do. One of the many things is having the opportunity to participate in Toastmasters. The first time I heard about the Indiana Reentry Educational Facility was on the second day of orientation. James told us that going to IRF meant that we were going to interact with criminals that were about to get released. Through the Bridge program, there are 3 classes of which intertwine with each other: J101, R110, and V100. The first time we went to IRF, I was a little worried because I had never been face to face with a prisoner, and to talk to them was scary to a whole nother level. I imagined the residents being very built, intimidating, and all tatted up. What I saw differed from the picture I had in my head. Additionally, none of them were intimidating. On the contrary, they were all very welcoming and nice. When we attended one of our first Toastmasters meeting at IRF, we took our implicit bias test, an intro to criminal justice J101. After learning about implicit bias, I went into IRF once again, but instead of having a picture of it built, intimidating, and all tatted up resonate in my head, I was aware of my implicit bias, and in exchange I was able to connect with them and see things from their point of view. In J101 Chapter 3, I learned that mala is bad by its very nature, because it violates the basic principle of Judeo-Christianity morality, while mala prohibitum is bad because we have decided to make it bad. This reflects our moral beliefs and practices. For example, murder and rape are considered mala while drugs and prostitution are examples of mala prohibitum. When Johnny gave his icebreaker speech, he talked about how he started using drugs as a result from his stepmother abusing him when he was younger. This is an example of mala prohibitum. Johnny was not sent to prison because he was a drug addict, but he was sent to prison for the selling and possession of drugs for 20 years instead of being offered rehabilitation. Greg gave a speech on how much the criminal justice system needs to be improved and how he saw his friend die from an asthma attack due to neglected healthcare services. Greg also mentioned how he was sent to prison from the age of 14 for murder. In J101, we learned the difference in legal terminology when dealing with juveniles and alternatives juveniles can have instead of being sent to the criminal courts and being treated like adults. We also learned that the brain does not fully mature until after adolescence, therefore they do not have the mental capacity to be fully aware of their acts of crime. But the criminal justice system does not take juvenile matter much into consideration. It only takes into consideration their delinquent acts without offering help, and when they are put in with older criminals, this can affect them even more and even alter their minds to become real dangerous criminals. The Toastmasters meeting at IRF are all about public speaking. The residents are also required to give speeches, and some like Opie, Johnny, and Donald are terrified of public speaking, but when they get up to give a speech, especially Johnny, they go up there and own the floor. Ms. Terwa always says, practice does not make you perfect, but it makes you better. I am terrified of public speaking, but going to a Toastmasters meeting at IRF has helped me. Even though I haven't stood in front of them and given a speech, I have been the grammarian, word of the day person, and evaluator. These are still very terrifying things to do, because I have to stand up, all eyes looking at me, and give my evaluation for that session. Not only do the residents at IRF help me get over my fear of public speaking, with their support, advice, and guidance, they've also helped me become a better speaker. We reciprocate their help and help them better their public speaking too. When the residents get released back into their communities, they can use their speaking skills to get a job, even if they do have to check the "Have you ever been convicted?" box. This experience does not only connect with my J101, R110, or V100 classes, but it also connects with my psychology class. IRF has made it possible for me to look at the residents through the psychological lens and think of what caused them to behave in a certain way and what can be done to change or even control their behaviors. I've grown as a person when it comes to being open-minded. I've always thought myself as being an open-minded person, but going to IRF has taught me to be even more open-minded and to think of those who are wrongly convicted and who are incarcerated for something that could have been avoided if help was available, and how much work our criminal justice system still needs. A mind that is stretched by a new experience can never go back to its old dimensions. Oliver Holmes. Through this experience, what I thought and believed to be true has changed. I do not think I will ever believe in thinking the same way I used to. IRF has truly been a magical and rare experience for me.